guys, Alaha here. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new, welcome. And if you're an existing subscriber, thank you for joining me once again. Today, I'm going to be doing a first impressions on the new Anastasia Subculture palette. I have gotten so many requests. I don't think I've ever had as many requests for a video as I did about this palette. So today I'm going to be showing you how to use this palette, what I think about this palette, and I'm also going to be talking about the difference between the Anastasia Subculture palette and the Jeffree Star Androgyny palette for those that want to know which one of these palettes I used on my eyes. Please stay tuned, and if you want to learn how to get this look, please keep watching, and I'd love to show you how to do that. So the first thing I'm going to do is prime my eyes with the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer, like I normally do. I'm just going to take a little bit of this and just apply a little to both lids. And I'm using my Makeup Bullet. You can get this Makeup Bullet at Ulta, online only, so be sure to check it out. They just launched it on the Ulta website yesterday, I believe. I love this sponge so much. You're not supposed to wet the sponge like you do a beauty blender. You're just supposed to either spray it with a makeup spray or use it dry, which is what I love. I hate having to get up to wet my beauty blender. I sprayed it with some Fix Plus before. Yeah, because if you wet the whole sponge, it'll slip off your finger. So you're not supposed to wet the entire sponge. Now I'm just going in with my Tarte Cosmetics Filtered Light Setting Powder. And I'm just going to use this to set that eye primer in place. Okay, so now let's talk about the palette. Here she is. I'm really excited to try it. I know there are tons of like negative reviews out there, and you know what? Not everyone's gonna love everything someone launches, but not everyone's gonna hate something that people say is bad either. So just keep that in mind. I bought this palette myself to give it a chance and to see if I'm able to work with it. I just took off the little thing off of the mirror. And so here's what it looks like. I'm sure you guys have seen the reviews, so I'm not going to do any swatches or anything like that. I don't feel like I need to. There's like 1,000,001 reviews on YouTube at this point. So I think I want to go in for like a more cranberry look today. That's what I was really going for. So I'm probably only going to be using about about 4 or 5, maybe 5 shades. So I'm really excited. I know the colors that I do have in mind are Roxy, which is this one here. I want to use All Star. I want to use a little bit of Rowdy. I do want to use Dawn, and I want to use Cube. Oh, and Adorn. I heard Adorn is one of the prettiest ones in this palette. So here's the palette. Honestly, it's so beautiful. It's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful color scheme. You guys have seen the comparisons between this and the Jeffree Star Androgyny palette. If you haven't seen that, I'm going to show it to you here. So here's the Androgyny palette, and here is the Anastasia Subculture palette. So you'll see the green is very similar, the blue is very similar, that gold, the yellow, that cranberry color, although in the Jeffree Star one it has more of like a red tint to it, and in the Anastasia one it's got more of like a plummy tone to it. The brown, both of the blues actually, the green, I said that already, that orangey shade, in the Jeffree Star, that orangey shade up here, that one is called Charm. That one is very similar to New Wave, but New Wave has more like a mustard tone, and this one has more like a peachy tone. So here's the comparisons between the two palettes, if you guys were curious. So let's get into it. I'm really, really excited. I know I'm not going to swirl my brush because you're not really supposed to do that with eyeshadow pigments anyway, and that's what this is. It's a pressed pigment palette. So I'm going to go in with the shade Roxy. Just going to pick up a little on my brush. And you can already see my brush is pretty saturated with that color. There is a little bit of fallout, but nothing too crazy. And I'm just going to apply this to my crease. Holy pigment. Wow, this is really, really, really pigmented. I mean, I knew it was. It's a pressed pigment palette, but this is extremely impressive. And I'm just going in windshield wiper motions, and I'm just applying that into my crease. I don't really need to pick up any more color because this is really pigmented, so I'm just really blending out whatever is there and kind of dragging it down a little bit. Next, I'm going to go in with that shade All Star up here. And again, okay, so the fallout on this one is a little bit more, but I'm just going to tap it off. You can see my brush is pretty saturated there. And I'm just going to apply this to the outer corners and drag it in. The brush I was using was the Morphe R37. I'm going to now go in with my Sigma Medium Sweeper E54. I'm going to take that All-Star color and I'm just going to apply this to my lid. This is really, really pigmented. Now I'm going in with my Sigma Small Tapered Blending Brush, the E45, and I'm just going to blend out that edge of that All-Star color. Now I'm going back in with my Vermona color switch and swishing my brush around in this to really clean everything off. And I'm going back in with that clean Morphe R37 and I'm blending all of this out. Next, I'm going in with this really small blending brush. This is by Vasanti. I got it in my Ipsy bag a couple years ago. It's the Contour Eyeshadow 4 brush. And I'm going to go in with the shade Rowdy, which is this shade here. And I'm just going to apply a little. Okay, the fallout on that is pretty bad. I'm just going to dust that off a little and just apply this to the outer corners to kind of darken it a bit. And I literally just took the smallest amount. Now going in with a Sigma Shader Lid E56 brush, I'm going in with the shade Adorn, that beautiful gold color. This is super, super, super pigmented. And I'm just going to apply it to this inner corners, an inner third of my eye. Now going in with the shade Cube, that's this white color right here. I'm going to use the same brush and just apply this to the inner corners. This is a beautiful, like, pinky iridescent color. I didn't think it was going to do that, but it's turning kind of pink on my eyes, and I'm living for it. I'm going to go in with a little bit of Dawn, which is this like beigey color here, cream color. And I'm just going to use this, that has a lot of fallout by the way, to kind of blend out the edges because I feel like my edges are looking a little harsh, so I want to blend them out more. Next, I'm going in with All Star again, and I'm applying it with my Sigma Medium Sweeper E54. I'm just going to apply this to my lower lash line. Going in with Rowdy, and I'm just going to darken the outer corners and brush it up a little. And I'm going in with Roxy, and I'm just going to use this to kind of blend out those shades that I just applied to my lower lash line. Okay, so today I'm going to be using my NYX Cosmetic Vivid Brights eyeliner. It's like a beautiful magenta liner. And I'm just going to apply this like wing liner. To prime my face, I'm going in with my Too Faced Hangover RX Primer. Just going to take a few pumps of this and just apply this to my face. So I'm going to go ahead and slide my makeup blender, my makeup bullet, over my finger. It's best to use it with your middle finger or your ring finger, but I like it on my pointer. I'm going to go in with my Tarte Cosmetics Rainforest of the Sea Radiance drops. And I'm just going to apply a couple of drops of this to my face. I'm going to use my hands to blend this out for a nice, beautiful glow. Next, I'm going in with the OG of the foundation game, my Makeupforever HD foundation. I'm in the shade Y345. I'm just going to take a little bit of that and squeeze it onto the back of my hand. And go in with my makeup bullet and just apply this onto my face. I like that this makeup bullet lets you get into all the crevices of your face. Going back in with my Tarte Shape Tape Concealer. I'm in the shade Light Neutral. And I'm just going to conceal and highlight. And then just blend it out with that makeup bullet. Now I'm going in with my Tarte Cosmetics Filtered Light Setting Powder. I'm just going to smooth out my under eyes by just blending it out a little to kind of get rid of any creases. And I'm going to dip this into my setting powder and just set my under eyes. And using my Royal Langnickel contour brush, I'm just going to take some of this setting powder and dust it onto the rest of my face. This will set my foundation in place. And I'm also going to use that to dust off the excess setting powder on my face. So I'm just going to fill my brows, apply my mascara and my lashes off camera, and I'll be right back. So the lashes I decided to go in with are obviously Huda Beauty. These are in the style Sasha, one of my favorites for sure. Today I'm going in with the Makeupgeek bronzer in the shade Tawny, and I'm using my Benefit Cosmetics Hoola bronzing brush to bronze up my face a little. Just gonna take it down my neck so there's no harsh lines. So I look tan. Fake a tan, girl, fake a tan. And for my highlight, I'm using the new Dior. It's not new, but it's new to me. It's the Dior Nude Air Luminizer Sculpting Shimmering Sculpting Powder in the shade 003. And of course, this glow is pretty blinding. This highlighter is everything. And I'm just going to apply some to the bridge of my nose. And for blush, I'm going in with my MAC Cosmetics Rosy Outlook blush. And I'm just applying this to the apples of my cheeks and blending it towards that contour. For my lips, I'm going in with my MAC Cosmetics lip liner in the shade Whirl. And I'm going in with my Huda Beauty liquid lipstick in the shade Sugar Mama. And to set everything in place, I'm going in with my Urban Decay De-Slick setting spray. Okay guys, let's talk subculture. What do I think of this palette? Not taking away from anyone who had a bad experience with it. I didn't use every color in here. I only used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 shades. So I didn't get a chance to play with the blues and the greens. However, I will say that this is a super pigmented palette. And when you have super pigmented palettes, you're going to get a lot of fallout. This is not just a pressed eyeshadow palette. It's a pressed pigment palette. You're not supposed to swirl your brush into it. I kind of just tapped a couple times. As you guys saw, I didn't swirl my brush into it, and you should be fine in that case. You can see my palette hasn't really gotten dirty. It didn't get a bunch of powder everywhere. Look at this ugly little nail right here. It didn't get a bunch of powder everywhere. I didn't hit pan, and I know some people did hit pan, and that's with the swishing, but then I also did not use the brush that it came with. I was too afraid that the bristles on these brushes were a little too stiff, which is why I didn't want to go into a pigment palette with this brush. I would just suggest that they change the brush if they're going to change anything about this palette. And truth be told, I did have a little bit of difficulty blending the reddish shade called All Star into that rowdy shade, which is that dark color that I showed you guys. It was very difficult to blend those two together. It does take a little bit more work, but then again, with a pressed pigment palette, that's what you get. That's what you're asking for. It's very hard to blend pigment. That being said, I like this palette. I didn't mix too many funky colors together since it was the first time I was using it. And on top of that, other than like the burgundy liner, this is kind of the look that I go for on a regular basis. I don't go for anything like the blues and the greens. So if you're somebody that loves the blues and the greens, I would kind of suggest looking at reviews of people who have used those shades, because I personally didn't use them this time around. Also, if you guys didn't know, I do collect all of Anastasia's eyeshadow palettes. I have the Modern Renaissance here, the Self-Made palette. Here's the Shadow Couture World Traveler palette here. Got the Artist palette, the Makeup by Mario Master palette. We got the Maya Mia collaboration palette, the Tamana Roshan Dress Your Face palette, and the Amrezy palette. And I think this is every single palette she's ever come out with. I do have all of them because I'm a big fan of all of her products. I absolutely love them. And if you go through my palettes, you'll see that I don't use the brushes for any of them. So all my brushes are still intact. The biggest difference with this Subculture palette and all the other palettes is that it's a pressed pigment palette. It is a palette that's mostly made for like makeup artists and experienced artists, or even if you're not a makeup artist, if you have experience with makeup, you should be able to work with this palette. If you're a beginner and you purchase this palette, I would hate for you to not be able to use it. So I would go in with a lot of the safe shades like Roxy. That's a beautiful transition shade, that first shade that I used. All Star can be another one that you use if you want to kind of deepen and darken that color. And I'm sure New Wave, Edge, Dawn, like I would go with the lighter shades first, and I wouldn't mix too many colors together if you're a beginner. I do plan on using some of the blues and the greens in the future, but for now, all I can say is that I really did like the palette. It is 100% ABH approved if you are an experienced makeup lover or makeup artist. If you're not, then no, I wouldn't recommend this palette to you. I would go with something safer like the Modern Renaissance. That being said, I really do hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial / first impressions. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Please also don't forget to follow me on Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. All of that is at Makeupbyalaha. It's super easy to find me. And please turn on the bell notifications if you don't mind, because I'm noticing that my videos aren't getting as many views as they used to. That's because YouTube changed their algorithms and now you no longer are notified when I post a video. So the easiest thing to do is click that little bell and you'll be notified every time I upload a new video. Thank you guys for tuning in. Love you guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye!